These are the conditions many Aboriginals live in. Amongst those are children of all ages. Due to these horrible conditions, many end up taking the wrong path. One of them being ending up in the streets and looking for drugs. Drugs like marijuana, cocaine, heroin, and many more. What can we do to avoid more youth becoming like these, and to maintain the innocence of these by saving them from conditions like these?
Today I'm here with Xavier Bird. When Xavier was younger, he did not finish his education at residential school and became a soldier soon after. How are you today, Xavier?
Good.
That's good to hear. So let's talk about residential schools. When did you decide to leave yours?
Well, I was there for a few times, and I left after actually a few years. Didn't stay there too long.
Well, what made you make your decision to leave the school?
Well, I didn't really fit in there. I didn't enjoy my time there at all. I just didn't feel like it was a good place for me to be.
How did you leave the school?
Well, actually one time during recess, my aunt came to get me while I was playing with my friends.
So you decided to leave the place that you grew up when a lady showed up who claimed to be your aunt, said that she would take you home.
Yeah, I just wasn't the place for me. Wanted to leave.
Did you make an effort to follow the rules?
Yeah, of course I did.
Did you usually make the effort to speak in their language, which is English, or did you speak in your own language?
Well, no, I wanted to speak Cree most of the time, but I wasn't allowed to.
So these nuns took the effort to teach you a new language and a new culture that would ultimately benefit you, helping you to be one with the dominant culture, and you just ignored their efforts.
I didn't understand what they were telling me. We were taught the letter of their language and how to string those letters to form words. None of it made sense to me.
Okay, moving on. What was your experience like at the war?
Well, what do you mean?
Let's start with your relationships. Did you have any friends? Did you get along with everybody?
Well, yeah, there are some people I like, some people not so much. I usually stuck to myself, hung out with Elijah, because to me, the whole war experience really just felt like a forced family.
Well, did you try to interact with people, or did you keep to yourself?
Well, mainly it was a language barrier. I didn't really know English that well. They didn't speak Cree. Elijah was usually the one who would translate for us back and forth.
Do you think this would have anything to do with your refusal to comply to the school rules, your abrupt departure from the school, and your prolonged time in the wilderness?
Maybe.
Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you for joining us, Xavier.
Yeah, no problem. It was made clear throughout the years that the savage ways of the Native Canadians were not acceptable in the Western culture. The Canadian government sought out a solution for the problem, one that would not only solve the problem, but also help them. The solution they found to be best was the idea of a residential school, a place where the fresh minds of the Aboriginal youth would not be corrupted by the terrible environment. In each of these residential schools, the children from each tribe would be taken to a building where they would now live together. Together, they will be taught many things that will help integrate them into the dominant culture. The teachers will teach them how to read and write in English. They will learn the basic skills they need to survive in their new and improved towns. The intentions of the Canadian government was to only help the children, and that they did for few of them.
Today we're here at Bishop Horton Memorial School, a residential school right here in Moose Factory. Here to give us a tour today is Sister Magdalene.
Hello, God bless you. Here at Bishop Horton, we believe in integrating the Native kids into our culture because we believe it'll lead them to success.
Alright, so where should we go first?
Well, if you follow me, here's our garden where we teach the boys the basics of agriculture, and God bless them, they're getting very good.
Very nice, very nice.
And if you'll follow me, we'll start the tour. And this is one of our classrooms.
Oh, what do you teach in this classroom?
Here we teach the students how to read, write, and speak English. As we see it, it's very beneficial to their futures.
So how are the kids doing with learning a new language?
They're very determined, God bless them, because they want to succeed in life. Here's one of our students right now. Hi, Petunia.
Good morning, Sister Magdalene. How are you doing?
Great, thanks. She's a second-year student, and she didn't know any English when she first came here. As you can see, she's improved a lot, like many of our other students. Now, if you follow me, we'll go to the common room.
Okay.
God bless you all.
This is the common area. This is the divide between the girls and the boys. As you can see, this is the girls' dormitory where the girls all sleep. And this is the girls' learning center where we teach them the art of sewing and doing laundry. And on this side is the boys' dormitory where they also sleep, and the boys' learning center where we teach them agriculture and woodworking. Now, we believe in practical learning, so the kids get out and get a lot of experience throughout the school. For example, the girls do a lot of like fixing clothes and a lot of the housework, and the boys will practice their agriculture outside in the garden, as mentioned before, and they'll do some little repairs, like if a chair needs repairing, and because we believe it enhances their skills.
So is there anything else you'd like to show us before we wrap up today?
Well, if you follow me, this is the students' play center. Here there's a jungle gym and a field, so the students can play on the jungle gym, or they can play soccer. Usually the boys tend to play soccer and the girls tend to go in the jungle gym, but we believe this is a good place to kind of give them practical experience in speaking English outside of the classroom, and a chance for them to be kids.
It looks very fun. The kids are very lucky here. Well, so that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for showing us around and having us here at your school.
Thank you for coming. May the Lord be with you. Bye.
Today I'm here with Elijah Whiskey Jack. He's one of the best soldiers that served at the Army. Nice to meet you, Elijah.
Nice to meet you too, Michelle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. So we heard that you attended the same residential school as Xavier Bird.
Yes, actually I did. We were both in the same school and we were in the same classes. And whenever he struggled, I always tried to help whispering to Xavier. Until he left, I stayed for a few years to continue my education. But after a certain point later on in my life, I felt that I wanted to be with my best friend again, so I went after him.
So you waited until you had a proper understanding of the Western culture and you're able to speak the language fluently before deciding to leave. Is that right?
Yes, that is right. I wanted to make sure that I would be able to communicate in Moose Factory and survive or anywhere that I traveled if I had.
That's a very good reason to stay. So how did you feel at school? Did you fit in? Did you have friends?
Yes, actually I did have many friends. All the kids at the school were the same kids that I knew since I was young. We kind of grew up together and we had the same classes, so we're all very familiar.
That's nice. So do you think you would have left residential school with Xavier if he had asked you?
No, I don't think so. At that point in my life, there was still so much more knowledge for me to learn, and I feel like I would have been depriving myself of that opportunity if I had gone with him. And I definitely don't think I'd be as successful as I am now if I hadn't gone to school then.
All right, now let us move on to the war. What was it like being the best soldier in the Army?
It's a very demanding job, but I am constantly surrounded by men I consider brothers, so.
So you and the other soldiers get along then?
Yes, of course. We always talk about our life before the war, and we talk about our families, and it really helps us. Really helps bring us closer, and it makes us more of a team, and in turn, it makes us better soldiers as well.
Do you think that because you attended residential school, it is ultimately benefiting you right now?
Of course, I do. If I had left school with Xavier, then I think I'd be lost now. Learning about the English language and the English culture really helped me relate to the other soldiers, and in turn that's also helped me fit in with them. And in a place like this, you really need, a couple friends to keep you grounded and help you keep pushing.
So do you think of, because of Xavier's shorter period of time at residential school, he is struggling because of that?
Xavier is definitely a more shy person. He doesn't put himself out there that much, and I think that he's a great soldier and a great friend, but I think that because of his lack of the English language, it kind of makes it harder for him to put himself out there, which, he kind of keeps himself nowadays, and I usually translate back and forth for him and the other soldiers, so yeah.
Okay, I think we got all the information that we need for today. Thank you for joining us today, Elijah.
No problem, it was my pleasure.
To finish, we want to leave you with a story about two girls. Their names are Anne, or Rabbit as she was once called, and Niska. These two girls were sisters, so one could expect that they grew up very similarly and were raised the same way. However, that was not the case. Both Rabbit and Niska were brought to residential school at a young age to receive education, which of course would set them both up for a very good and fulfilling life. Rabbit thrived in this setting and had no issues with the school system. As a result, she was well educated and currently lives in harmony with the Canadians. Meanwhile, Niska was quite stubborn and continually fought against the teachings at residential school. Before Niska could finish her education, her mother took her away one night, straight from her bedroom at school, and brought her back to her less fortunate life in the bush. As a result, Niska missed out on her chance at being one with the dominant and privileged culture. Even worse, she lives without education, healthcare, a stable job, and more. So, you must be wondering, how is Niska doing now? We were not able to get an interview with her directly, as she refused our company, but here is what the townspeople have to say. A French man, who asks to remain unnamed, for he is ashamed of his past relationship with Niska, says, "She's quite barbaric, like an Indian animal straight out of the bush. She cannot distinguish between the game she hunts and a human being. One day, I was traveling the bush, and she used a tent to trap me, where she kept me as some sort of pet." Secondly, a townsperson, who recently saw Niska walking the streets, says, "Last time she came by, her body was smaller than the others, looks as if she has rarely been able to feed herself full. I can't imagine why anyone would choose a life in the bush, where one can barely obtain their basic needs, when they have the opportunity to live alongside the more privileged." Finally, Old Man Ferguson from the company store says, "She came into my store one day. She wanted updates on the war. Clearly, she had not been taught manners. She thought she could just waltz in without greeting anyone in the store and eavesdrop on our reports, for free." Niska gave up a harmonious, peaceful life when she left residential school many years ago.